First of all, I just want you to know that when something like this happens, when your husband has been unfaithful, it triggers your limbic system. It activates it and puts it into like a survival mode. It's your body's way of protecting itself. You go into fight, flight, freeze. And so this is how your body keeps you safe inside of trauma. Um, but the longer that you stay in that heightened state, the harder it's going to be to get out of it, and the more likely you're going to experience anger, anxiety, fear, things like that. So we are going to talk a little bit about strategies to calm your body down when you're in those initial stages, and then also some things, like I said, to help you be like less likely to get angry as we go along. So first, I'm just going to start with some things to help you lower the possibility of getting angry. And then if you're in the very beginning stages, some things that is important to do so that you can get yourself out of this survival mode and your limbic system being highly activated, because when your limbic system is activated like that, you don't think clearly, and you cannot make, it's more difficult to make rational decisions from that state. So in order to like help you be in the best possible mental state to not struggle with anger, self-care is so important. And if you follow me on social media or you're around me in the community or coaching, you will have already heard me say that self-care is important. And what self-care means is not always clear. Sometimes you think of self-care as like, oh, I'm going to get my nails done, or I'm going to have a massage. And while that is absolutely self-care, there's so many other things that fit into the category of self-care. And essentially, the way that I define self-care is anything that is going to allow you to operate from your best self on a daily basis. So anything you need or can do to put yourself in a place that will allow you to operate from your most authentic self, from your healthiest self in that moment. So for the basics, getting sleep, exercise, whether that's just a walk or you like something more high intensity or weightlifting, whatever it is, some form of moving your body. That's so important. And then and healthy eating as well. So those are just like the very minimal basics of how we can take care of our body to allow us to work through the pain that we're dealing with from a place, putting ourselves in the best place possible. Okay. Another thing that's going to help you lower the possibility of getting angry and also get you out of that activated limbic system is having a safe place to talk about what is going on. When you keep the like emotions bottled up and you pretend like everything is okay, it's going to it's going to be harder to work through it. You need a safe place. That doesn't mean you need to be talking to everybody about it, but it is important to have a safe people or a safe community to talk about how you're feeling. So if you don't have one, then that's what the Journey Beyond Betrayal community is. It is a safe place of other women who are going through what you're experiencing. Their husband was unfaithful in some way. And we do a weekly check-in, so you have a place to talk about what you're feeling out loud with other people who understand. Whether you are in a community like that, or you just have a one or two friends that you can talk to who will support you and encourage you to do your healing, just make sure you have somewhere that you're talking about it. And then number 3, I would say, as much as you need to also talk about it, you also need opportunities to step out of what's happened to you and all of the feelings that you're experiencing. It's a heavy reality and it's hard and it feels like it's overwhelming, and it is okay. And I would encourage you to find ways to relax and have fun and forget about what is happening. Put it in a box for a minute, let it go, and step out and just have a good time, like whatever that looks like for you, whether it's daily, but at least weekly. It doesn't have to necessarily be an entire day or weekend away or whatever, but some way to step outside of what's happening so that you can just relax, breathe, and ignore what's going on. So those are some things that can help you get out of that like fight or flight, and also put you in the best possibility to like limit how often you're going to struggle with this fear and anxiety. Any questions yet about that? You can drop them in the comments. All right. So those things that we just talked about will help you lower the amount of times you're dealing with anger. Doesn't mean that you're never going to feel angry, because as I said, I know some of you joined a little bit later. It's absolutely okay to feel angry. It's then when you feel that anger, what are you going to do with it? And that's typically what causes the issues. It's not the feel, like nobody wants to necessarily feel angry, but it is a very normal part of the process when your husband has been unfaithful for you to feel angry, because it was wrong. What happened is wrong, and anyone in their right mind is going to be angry about that happening. I think God is angry about it. It's not his design either. So just accept that it's okay to be angry. But then now what, right? We all know we feel angry, but what do we do when that feeling comes up? I want to say these are my opinions, and these are my suggestions, but I want you to acknowledge what you're feeling rather than try to resist it and think, I can't feel this way, I don't want to feel this way. Accept that you're feeling that way, acknowledge that that's what you're feeling, and then get curious about what it is that you're feeling. Okay, is it actually anger? Because for me, oftentimes what anger masks is a feeling of helplessness. It's a feeling of fear. It's actually like it's sadness. Maybe it's grief, but that's not my normal response. Like normally I feel more powerful when I'm like acting out in anger. And that's a more comfortable feeling for me. I'm very comfortable feeling angry. I'm not very comfortable feeling sad or hopeless or powerless. And so start to get curious about what is it that I am really feeling? Okay, here's some other questions to ask yourself when you're feeling angry. What happened just before you got angry? What happened before you were feeling this way? You weren't feeling this way, now you're feeling this way. What happened to cause you to feel angry? Is that thing happening in the present, or is it a memory, a thought, or a feeling of something that happened from the past? Now, if it is happening in the present, I'll get to that, but if it's from the past, then bring your attention back to the present. What is it that you're actually feeling and thinking and experiencing today? What is the reality of where you're at today? And focus on that and incorporate and look at what's in front of you rather than, okay, and recognize that you are angry, but it's not about the present. It's about something from the past. Now, there are real things that happen, of course, like, and it's something that just happened. Maybe you found out another piece of information or another lie. And so the anger is about something that is happening right in front of you. Right there, what I would recommend is that you try to stop and pause. This is really hard, so don't think that because I'm suggesting this that I do this 100% of the time, or I'm some sort of perfect example of all of this, because I struggle with this. Now, it may not be related to my husband being unfaithful, but I have 2 children, and so I have a husband still, so I still struggle with anger and dealing with my anger. So just because I'm suggesting this doesn't mean I'm perfectly doing this in my life. I just want to be clear about that. But pause, stop, take some deep breaths, utilize any breathing techniques that you have, and try to wait to react until you've like calmed yourself down just a little bit, or resist reacting. Okay, do you need to actually respond to what you have learned right now? What would happen if you waited? What would happen if you didn't respond out of the anger? You feel it, you're feeling it, and we're acknowledging that we're feeling it, but we're not responding immediately. Could you write down what you're feeling? Could you call one of those safe people instead of lashing out at your husband or the person that you're angry at? Can you like journal what you're feeling? Turn on music, distract yourself, and let your body calm down and respond later. Is that possible? Now, those are just a few things that you can do when you're feeling angry. It's not an exhaustive list. There's other ways that to address your anger, to try to limit your response, just a little kind of snippet of how, like some tips and strategies and tools to use when you're struggling with anger.